Capacitors that are nearby these BGA chips, by default, they are designed to look like they are short. And sometimes, people get misled by those capacitors. They try to measure them on both sides and they see that these capacitors are making the beeping sound. And sometimes they come to conclusion that the CPU is short. That is actually very wrong, because the capacitors around the CPU, the graphics card, and the chipset are designed to feel like they are short to ground. Now they do this to protect these components from electrostatic charge. Electrostatic charge is the type of electricity that builds up upon our bodies. If you guys remember your high school or primary school physics, they say that our bodies have got some small charge. Our bodies and our clothes or any kind of materials that we interact with, all those components have got some kind of charge. So these charges, they build up on our body. And when they build up, they actually accumulate to numbers. Some of them even go up to 5,000 kilovolts. So when you get into a motherboard which has got BGA chips, that charge is able to flow from your body to the motherboard and then go through the chipsets or the processor or the graphics, and they can actually spoil and kill those chips on the motherboard. So that's why they design these chips to be short to ground when there is no voltage, so that when you have a high static charge in your body and you touch on the laptop, it does not go through the circuit of the CPU, it goes back to ground. And this also explains why you see technicians or even people who work in electronic assembly plants, they have what we call electrostatic wrists that they put on their hands and connect them to ground. So this is actually helps to discharge that static current out of your bodies. However, they are sometimes indeed true that those chips get short to ground. So how do you tell that indeed this chip is short to ground when you're using the continuity mode? Now, in our upcoming videos, we are going to see all those features in details, but to briefly let you know, you have always to consider the readings on the multimeter. Whether the multimeter is making the beep or not, it will still show you some resistance on the multimeter. And any resistance, usually that is below 5 ohms, sometimes indicates a short circuit. So the multimeters make the beep as long as the resistance most times is below 50 ohms. So you could see especially the chipset could be reading around 14, around 40. But if you see that the reading is below 5, it's around 2, 1, 0, sometimes it's an indication of a short circuit. Now, I don't want to go into much details in this section because I will get you confused, but in the future videos we are going to see how to do that and how to isolate these circuits and come to a conclusion that your CPU or your graphics card is short to ground.